everybody, it's Doom here, and today I'm going to be looking at all of the Home Depot, new for 2023 Home Depot Halloween animatronics for this year, and I'm going to put them on a tier list from epic all the way down to awful. So, let's get straight into it. So first up, we have the Sitter of Souls. Now, this one is definitely a very interesting one. Not my favorite, just because the concept of it is a little weird, and I don't think it works out in an amazing way. Honestly, I'm trying to figure out how this could work and what they were actually going for, but I don't really see it. Yeah, it's pretty creepy, but I don't really like it that much. So this would be, I would put this in bad, but since, Home Depot has great pricing and, it's going to be great quality as well, I'm going to put it up in the meh tier. Up next, we have this fisherman, who is another rocking prop. Now, we see these things every year, but this one has a unique twist to it, and I really like all of the attention to detail. But I feel like it rocks a little too violently, and the rocking props were not really my favorite. But I'm going to put him in okay. And yeah. Next up, we have my absolute favorite of the year, Predator of the Night. Now, this guy is absolutely amazing. Stands 9 feet tall and is the first ever animatronic to have a 12-foot wingspan, which is absolutely awesome. So first Home Depot starts off with 12-foot props a couple years back, and now we got a 12-foot wide one, and this guy does not disappoint. Like every single aspect, amazing animation, amazing sculpt. I love this guy so much, and I'm definitely going to try to pick him up this year. Next up, we have the Grave Robber, or should I say Gravedigger? It was called Gravedigger, but it kind of sounds like it's a grave robber just because of the phrases, and kind of describes it as a grave robber as well. Anyway, this guy is definitely great, just because he's not epic, but he's definitely great. But like, I love how he's got like that new uniqueness of like having the foot on the shovel, and the animation works really well, and the detail too. Just a great prop, and yeah. Next up, we have the Swamp Monster, or I think I kind of forget the name, but Lush Monster. I think it was like Lush Monster or something like that. But this guy, originally I thought it was a Wendigo. I guess I was wrong, and I'm not the only person who is wrong. But like, I see what they were going for, and like, his entire body looks great until you get to the head, and it's just a little weird. I mean, I see what they were going for, but it ended up being a little on the goofy side and not on the scary side. So therefore, even though it's a great prop, it's just goofy and not what they were going for. Not what I'm looking for, at least. Next up, we have another awesome one, Cold Hate. Although they did change the name to like THD 3000, but I still like Cold Hate. The name Cold Hate sounds a lot cooler in my opinion, and I love the amount of movement on this guy. Probably the most amount of movement we've ever seen in an animatronic, a retail animatronic, because it's just awesome, and I love it so much. It's so unique. I love how they did a cyborg animatronic. I don't think it will fit my theme that well. I mean, it's kind of hard to incorporate this into your theme, just because, well, it has to be like sci-fi or something like that. But nonetheless, even if it's not that flexible, it's still epic. Next up, we have the 12-foot towering ghost, and I'm confused on whether I should put this in epic or great, because it ties into both. Like, it is an amazing prop, for sure. I love it. It's super unique. Well, it's a ghost. It's not super unique, but the twist it has on it, and like the amount of lighting and the flexibility you can do with it is awesome, but it does just feel like it's missing something, and I can't tell you what, so it's gonna go in great. Next up, we have what is supposed to be a Christmas animatronic, but in my opinion looks a little too scary to be a Christmas animatronic. And this guy is a great prop just because you can use him for Christmas and you can use him for Halloween as well. And he is a classic SVI prop, and like looks great. The detail, attention to detail, the frozen hair, frozen hands, everything just works great with this guy. And I wish we kind of got to see him a little bit more. We only got like 20 seconds of a demo from him, so I don't know how much movement he has, but he's still great. Next one up for me is a very difficult one to place because this prop is amazing and its movement is amazing, but I don't really like the generic witch look. The character isn't great. I wish they did it for something more unique. Well, they did do it for something more unique. They did it for Cold Hate, so I'm happy that they did it for him, but I wish this was more of a unique character, instead of just, bland witch, but it's still awesome. I love the movement, super realistic, and it still it has to go in great. Next up, we have the boogeyman, or what I'm just gonna call it Sinister because that's the movie it's based off of. Really, it looks a lot like Bagul. All haunters are saying this, of course, because it does. It's an obvious inspiration. It would have to be a huge coincidence if it wasn't. But aside that, it's not licensed or anything. And I kind of like that about the prop. I mean, if it was licensed, it might end up costing a bit more. So I'm glad it isn't. But it looks super cool, and I will definitely buy this if I can find it somewhere. Next up, we have Marie the Meddling Maid, obviously inspired by the success of Dean the Deathologist. And he was a great prop. I never really loved him too much, but I guess he is great for parties and stuff. But still, this prop is not close to as good as Dean was, but it's still okay. Let's say it's okay. Alright, so next up we have Sinister Steve, which is basically a smaller clown prop, and he's very generic, although for this weird twist that they gave him, like a toolkit or something, making him a handyman, but it really does not work for the clown. I mean, Painter Clown was one thing. They just used paint as an excuse to have blood, all over a clown prop, which I love. But, this guy is not nearly as good as Painter Clown, and honestly, I don't like him too much at all. But he's not gonna be bad, because the pricing's gonna be great, and the quality's still gonna be great, so he's gonna go in meh. On to the second last prop we're going to be ranking. Here we have Possessed Penny. Now, a lot of people really love this, and it's obvious to see why. It's not your it's not your average doll prop. It is much better. I love the look of it. Reminds me a lot of Darling Dolly, the face, and all that. But I love the fact that the eyes kind of turn into possessed. It kind of reminds me of Rosemary. Her eyes turned white and she jumped forward. Now this isn't as good as Rosemary, but it is definitely a great prop, especially for the price of $90. You really can't beat that. And lastly, finally, we have the 13-foot Jack Skellington prop. Now I'm not going to buy this. I don't really. Okay, don't hate me for this, but I'm not the biggest Nightmare Before Christmas fan. I mean, I've watched it a couple times, never really stuck with me. But nonetheless, it's a great prop. Other than the fact that it's Jack Skellington. I mean, it's fine if you're a fan of the movie, but I'm not the biggest fan. I will not be getting this, but it is still worthy of the great spot. So that's going to be it for the ranking. So I may have missed a couple props, but it doesn't really matter because we definitely have the majority. And there's a lot of epic and great props this year, which I love, and only 3 mez, and absolutely none are bad or awful, which is very great. So Home Depot this year has really kicked it out of the ballpark. Everything here is quite amazing. I just absolutely love them. It's a phenomenal year. The technology you can obviously see is improving, and I love that. But that's just going to be it for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed this ranking. Maybe you agree with me, maybe you don't. Leave your comments down below, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Doom out.